And those black-clothed people, as soon as they saw that the entire Lanzhou city woke up, and they still regarded them as robbers, they didn't care about chasing Yang Xiaoxie anymore, and the leading black-clothed man waved his right hand and shouted, "Disperse!" The 10 people had already found their own way to retreat and rushed out of the city. It's a pity that the government has been awakened. The whole city is full of soldiers. How easy it should be to escape. Not long after, 7 men in black have been arrested, 2 were injured and escaped from Lanzhou city, and the leader was smarter, swept into the house, took off the black scarf, changed back to the usual clothes and escaped the catastrophe. At this time, Yang Xiao also stepped forward, wanting to see how the black-clothed people who were caught looked like and how they looked. The officers and soldiers escorted these black-clothed people to the mansion. Their masks had been removed. Xiaoxie was stunned, only to see that they were all unrecognizable, except for the eyes, the nose and ears were gone, and the whole face was covered with knife marks and scars. Xiaoxie knew that these people were all disfigured. How could there be such a ruthless person in the world? They are so pitiful. Yang Xiao said to himself, I knew that they were like this, I would have let them catch them, but who would have thought that there would be such a poor person as a sister in the world? Xiaoxie regretted a little, he felt that he had to save the disfigured masked people. As soon as he thought of him, he rushed towards the officers and soldiers, and he wanted to tell the officers and soldiers that those people were chasing him, and that they were not robbers and petty soldiers, because he had won 30,000 taels of silver tickets at noon. Even these silver tickets can be given to officers and soldiers. However, Xiaoxie took a step slower, and saw 7 sharp arrows suddenly flying from the western regions. Shot in the chests of the 7 black-clothed people, the 7 people immediately lost their breath, and they killed people. Catch the assassin! I saw the foreman of the officers and soldiers shouting, and the officers and soldiers were in a mess again and chased after the western region's gate. I saw a figure on the west city gate flashing and had disappeared outside the city. Lang Xiao knew that he couldn't catch up, and walked back to the inn dejectedly. Lying on the bed, Xiaoxie thought to himself, these masked people look very young. What are they doing? Why are they disfigured? Why are they involved in Jixiang Casino? There must be a reason for this. I can't figure it out. He had to take the time to prove it, and soon he thought, could it be that these are the missing people that the old man said? He wanted to find more information as a basis, and he thought about these things and started to check them from the auspicious gambling house, which may have some results. XXX. It turned out that the leading man in black was the dealer of the auspicious gambling house, and I saw that he had dodged into the gambling house, went straight to the backyard, and when he entered the backyard, he came to a beautifully decorated pavilion. I only heard a burst of beautiful piano sound coming out of the pavilion. The rhyme was leisurely and soft, and the soft sound was very intoxicating. The dealer didn't dare to make a sound, and quietly walked to the door and said softly, Lord Helmsman, my subordinate Zhang Zishan has something important to report. There was no echo inside, and Zhang Zishan didn't dare to say much, standing outside the door, stunned in his heart. It wasn't until the people inside finished playing a song that the piano stopped for a long time before a woman's voice came out, which was Feng Gu's voice, and she said, Is it done? Zhang Zishan said, Lord Rudder, it has failed. His face was very ugly, as if he knew that the matter was quite serious. Failure? How many people have been broken? The owner of the camel, 7 people, 2 wounded. Feng Gu walked out of it, only to see her wearing a white light shirt, dancing lightly in the wind, graceful, like Yangzhou weeping willows, weak and boneless, very beautiful. She looked at Zhang Zishan and said lightly, "Zhang Zishan, you are already an old Jianghu, how can you be so miserable?" Zhang Zishan said ashamedly, "Lord of the Helm, his subordinates are sure." Who knew that the little watch was really powerful? He had already known that we would go to find ballast at night, and had already set a trap for us to cast the net. So people are deliberately trying to trouble us. Yes, he also colluded with the government to surround 10 of us, and if it weren't for the alertness of his subordinates, he would have been arrested a long time ago. Feng Gu said, "Tell me, what are the things?" Zhang Zishan moistened his throat and said, "The subordinates first sneaked into the Gao's hung in to touch the kid's room. Number 8 probed forward, and found that there was something wrong, and it was too late to dodge, and he had been hit by a flying knife. It turned out that this kid had already posted a note on the window, telling us to be careful of the flying knife, and then we all rushed in together, but he sneaked out, and told us not to be tired, drink tea and leave. Then we heard a burst of laughter, so we chased out, and sure enough, it was the watch. Who knew that we had trapped him in the streets, and he suddenly had a nervous break, screaming and throwing stones at the guards and gates of the prefect of Lanzhou Prefecture, causing chaos in the whole city, and this is how his subordinates lost 7 brothers. Feng Gu frowned and said, "I didn't expect this small table to be a bit of a doorway. Have the 7 solved it?" Zhang Zishan said, "The subordinates changed back into their clothes, and then went back to see the 10 people, and found that they were killed by the people sent from above." Feng Gu was stunned for a moment, and then said softly, "Zhang Zishan, do you know the result of failure?" Zhang Zishan's face changed, and he knelt on the ground and begged, "The helmsman is hungry, his subordinates are not intentional, please raise your noble hand and ask for your subordinates." Feng Gu turned to look at the sky for a long time before saying, "For the sake of you and me for so many years, I will take care of you, but you have caused the 7 brothers to die in vain. If you don't leave something down, I can't explain to my superiors, you can cut off your own arm." As soon as Zhang Zishan heard the sound of the word, the long sword slashed to his left hand, and the card only sounded lightly, and his left arm fell in response, and he immediately pointed to the A-cup ointment to stop the bleeding. "Thank you for the grace of the helmsman not to kill." After speaking, he was drenched in cold sweat, and his face was twisted and painful, but fortunately, he didn't moan. "Go back and rest." "Thank you, the helmsman, please take care of the helmsman when the superiors track down." "Don't worry, since I have spared you, I will not let others hurt you again." Zhang Zishan bowed down and picked up the broken arm and walked back to the room, as if this hand was not cut at him, and he didn't hum. Feng Gu was also very troubled. She went into the study, scribbled silk paper, and soon she rolled the paper into a long strip and stuffed it into a small brass pipe, and went to another house, and in a short time a pigeon had flown into the air and disappeared. It's late at night, and dawn is coming again. The casino opened at the same time. Xiaoxie thought about it all night and couldn't think of why, and he didn't want to think about it anymore, so it was dawn when he slept with his head covered, hurriedly washed up, ate some breakfast, and thought, "It's better to go to the casino to have a look, take care of him, the money will be returned to them, why worry so much? He looked at the flying knife on his chest and said hatefully, my grandmother's, there are so many flying knives that people don't even look at them, and they are afraid of talking, they still touch them at night. What is this? These people are really not good at bluffing. Forget it, forget it. They are forced to hang up the flying knives, and it's okay if they don't hang it up. Fortunately, they only hung it for one day, otherwise it would be strange if others didn't laugh to death. He couldn't help but laugh again. Looking for a bronze mirror to look at himself, the more he looked at it, the more unpleasant it became. What? It's almost the same as the plaster seller Fang Lang Zhong, no wonder people treat me as a symptom. With a few smirks, he took off the flying knife and walked to the Jixiang gambling house with the 30,000 taels of silver ticket. Soon the little evil has arrived at the gambling house. You're here, please sit inside. Aunt Feng has been waiting for Xiaoxie for a long time, and when she saw Xiaoxie coming, she greeted her with a smile. Xiaoxie smiled, if I don't come again, I won't be able to come tomorrow. Feng Gu smiled, why is this? Do you have something to leave Lanzhou City? The little evil said, it's not necessary to leave, but I don't know how to commit a dog evil recently, and some dogs always bite me. If I don't find a good place, I'm sure I'll die. Feng Gu smiled, young brother, you like to laugh. There are mad dogs in Lanzhou City, even if there is, mad dogs only bite people who love dog meat. Do you often eat them? I eat it a lot, but recently I have a lot of diarrhea and have to change to mutton. I haven't heard of eating mutton and being bitten by sheep.